This presentation is about the nature and the difference between a public and private corporation. At the end of this presentation, you should be able to distinguish a public from a private corporation, develop a working understanding about how corporations are created, and determine their types according to their purposes, and then evaluate the circumstances of a particular corporation and determine if it is a private or a public corporation. It is said that corporations may be classified as the purpose into a public corporation, which may either be a municipal corporation referring to local government units, or a quasi-public corporations created by the state to render public service or supply public wants, or into a private corporation, which is a corporation created for private benefit, aim, or end. Under Act Number 1459, or the Corporation Law of 1906, Section 3 thereof defines public corporations as those formed or organized for the government of a portion of a state, while private corporations are those formed for some private purpose, benefit, aim, or end. So, as this is distinguished from private corporations, public corporations have for their purpose the general good and welfare. So, please take note of this line wherein the public corporations are organized for the government of a portion of a state, which we now call as the local government units. Article 10 of the 1987 Constitution on the provisions on local government, Section 1 thereof, provides that the territorial and political subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines are the provinces, cities, municipalities, and barangays. This is precisely the local government units referred to in the previous slide. So these local government units are established for the government of a portion of the Philippines as a state. They are the political subdivisions of the Republic of the Philippines. So looking at Republic Act number 7160, or our Local Government Code of 1991, under Section 4 thereof, states that this law, RA 7160, applies to all provinces, cities, municipalities, barangays, and other political subdivisions as may be created by law. Section 14 of the same law states that the beginning of the corporate existence of a new local government unit shall commence upon the election and qualification of its chief executive and a majority of the members of its sanggunian, unless other time is fixed therefore by the law or ordinance creating it. So under this provision, it is obvious that local government units are really public corporations. Section 15 of the same law discusses the corporate and political nature of local government units. That local government units are a body politic and corporate endowed with powers which is to be exercised in conformity with law. As such, it shall exercise powers as a political subdivision of the national government, as a corporate entity representing the inhabitants of its territory. So this coincides with Section 1 of Act 1459 on the definition of a public corporation. Looking at the Civil Code of the Philippines, Article 44, it is stated there that the juridical persons are number one, the state and its political subdivision. This is precisely the local government units that we have been discussing in this presentation. And number two, other corporations, institutions, and entities for public interest or purpose created by law. Their personality begins as soon as they have been constituted according to law. So if you revisit the previous slide, it is stated there that there are two kinds of republic corporation. Number one are the municipal corporations, which are the local government units. And number two, the quasi-public corporations, which is precisely what is being alluded to here in item 2 of Article 44. Then, of course, number 3 are the private corporations, which the law grants a juridical personality separate and distinct from that of its shareholder, partner, or member. So this Article 44 coincides with the enumeration of the kinds of corporation as to purpose in the previous slide. Article 45 of the Civil Code of the Philippines states that those mentioned in number 1 and number 2 of the preceding article, the previous slide, are governed by the laws creating or recognizing them. So, local government units and quasi-public corporations are governed by the laws creating or recognizing them, because local government units and quasi-public corporations are created by Congress through the passage of the appropriate statute or law. And private corporations are supposedly regulated by laws of a general application on the subject. So, creating a private corporation is different from that of public corporations. Going back to the 1987 Constitution on Article 12, the National Economy and Patrimony, specifically Section 16, it is provided there that Congress shall not, except by general law, provide for the formation, organization, or regulation of private corporations. This coincides with the previous slide on the provision of the Civil Code of the Philippines that private corporations are governed by a general law. So this is it, Section 16. And under this section, it is also stated that GOCCs, or government-owned and controlled corporations, may be created or established by special charters in the interest of the common good and subject to the test of economic viability. So this is a new concept here, the GOCC. It is like a private corporation, but it is created by Congress for the common good and subject to the test of economic viability for as long as this corporation is government-owned or controlled. So since the 1987 Constitution calls for the formation, organization, or regulation of private corporations through a general law, Congress enacted this Republic Act number 11232, or our revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, precisely for that purpose. Section 2 of RA 11232 defines a corporation as an artificial being created by operation of law, having the right of succession and the powers, attributes, and properties expressly authorized by law or incidental to its existence. Take note that this definition actually refers to a private corporation. Since RA 11232 is the general law enacted by Congress for the regulation of private corporations. Section 4 of the same law provides that corporations created by special laws or charters shall be governed primarily by the provisions of the special law or charter creating them or applicable to them, supplemented by the provisions of this code insofar as they are applicable. So we have been discussing that public corporations, including government-owned and controlled corporations, are governed by the laws that establishes them. And by virtue of Section 4, the RCC or Republic Act 11232, the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, applies to them as a supplement. Okay? So, supplementary lang ang Republic Act 11232. So, to recap, as a purpose, a corporation may be public or private. A public corporation is formed or organized for the government of a portion of a state which have for the purpose the general good and welfare. A public corporation may either be a municipal corporation or a quasi-public corporation. Provinces, cities, municipalities, barangays, and other political subdivisions of the state are public corporations. Specifically, they are municipal corporations. Quasi-public corporations are created as agencies of the state for narrow and limited purposes without the powers and liabilities of self-governing corporations like the municipal corporations. So, quasi-public corporations render public service or supply public wants. Government-owned and controlled corporations are created or established by special charters in the interest of the common good and subject to the test of economic viability. A private corporation is formed for some private purpose, benefit, aim, or end. Private corporations are regulated by laws of general application on the subject. Congress is mandated under the Constitution to provide for the formation, organization, or regulation of private corporations through a general law. Congress enacted the Republic Act No. 11232 to provide for the Revised Corporation Code of the Philippines, which is applicable to private corporations and supplementarily to public corporations and GOCCs. The RCC is only supplementary to corporations created by special laws. So that's it.